Today at Home Chef, there are two classic dishes and a beef recipe with an Asian twist. Prawn cocktail was a favourite on menus in the 1970s, and it's remained popular ever since. Presentation is so important, and in this deconstructed version, the key ingredients are shown off to their best advantage. Gordon Ramsay's flagship restaurant in London has 3 Michelin stars, and both the head chef Claire Smith and front-of-house manager Jean-Claude Breton are old friends of mine. One of their signature dishes here is the tarte tatin. Simple, classic and absolutely delicious. The first recipe I'm going to show you is a beef dish with an Asian twist. Beef satay with pickled cucumber. You can buy satay sauce, but it's really easy to make your own and definitely worth the effort. Beef satay is a dish that we sometimes serve in the restaurant as a staff meal. When my staff, and the chefs in particular, come in at 12 o'clock, they have a little snack in the afternoon, whether it's some soup and some bread, and they have their break between 4 and 5, and they love the satay. This is my brother's recipe. He thinks it's one of the best, and I have to agree, it's absolutely delicious. First stage is the base for the sauce. We have green peppers and red peppers cut into little strips. We've cooked this off with some onion, garlic, and some ginger. So I've been just sauteing this off with some Irish rapeseed oil for about maybe 10 minutes. So the first thing I'm going to add in is the coconut milk. And I love this coconut milk. We get this through an Irish company called Thai Gold. It's organic and it's lovely and thick and creamy. Then we're going to put in some tomato puree. This is going to help colour it and also thicken it. So 4 spoonfuls of that. And then some sweet chilli sauce. And sweet chilli sauce gives a lovely little bit of a kick. It's not the hot chilli sauce. Next, the peanut butter. And this is the crunchy peanut butter. So we're going to get texture in this. You can use the smooth, but I prefer to use the crunchy peanut butter. This is the key ingredient for this. So that's loads. And then we're going to put some dark soya sauce into it. We're going to loosen it up with some water. You can use stock, but water's fine. Mix this all together. So just stir this here. Now, so we bring it to the boil and then just turn down the heat. We're going to let that simmer. Next thing I'm going to do is prepare the marinade for the beef. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some garlic into the bowl. We have 2 cloves of garlic, which is crushed. And then into that, for sweetness, some caster sugar. So 2 spoonfuls of caster sugar. This is very interesting, pineapple juice. And Thai cooking, they use a lot of pineapple in their cooking, in their curries and that, and it gives a lovely refreshing aftertaste and cuts through the richness. So there's a lovely acidic bite. Chinese five spice, another wonderful ingredient. So about half a teaspoonful of that. And then some dark soy sauce. Just get a spoon and just mix it all together, and a little pinch of salt. And then just give it a stir. And I can smell the pineapple, the garlic, and also the five spice. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare the beef. So I'm using some quality assured Irish beef. Most countries would feed on grain, but in Ireland, the majority of our beef is fed on grass, and that's what gives it the wonderful sweetness and fantastic depth of flavour. What I'm looking for when I want beef is a little marble in a fat. If you don't have fat, you don't have flavour. Just get from your local butcher something that's nicely aged. This is a strip line that I'm using. We're going to cut it into thin little strips. Cut them lengthways. So you're going with the grain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my beef into the marinade. So you cut them into long strips like that. Give it a good stir. And like any marinade, if you can leave this overnight in your fridge, the flavour you will get is absolutely fantastic. The marinade will penetrate into the centre of the meat. So what I would do is cover this with cling film and into the fridge. I already have some marinated, which we've done here. And it actually changes colour a little bit, so it does. So what I'm going to do is just get my bamboo skewers, and these are soaked in cold water. Bamboo is a great thing to cook, especially on a skewer, because it keeps the meat lovely and moist. So just using the point of the skewer and just kind of work it in and out of the meat. It's so simple. And what you're looking for is a lovely little kind of like a snake, really, like in figure of S there. So I'm going to place them on a plate, and then we're going to cook these. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the marinade, and I'm going to actually cook it out. Because remember, you've had raw meat in this. I'm going to brush this over the beef skewers. Just turn on my gas, cook this out just for a couple of minutes. Every so often, keep stirring your satay sauce. What I'm going to add into it just before I cook the skewers, we have some carrot, which we've just really finely grated. And what I've done is just pickle it with a little bit of wine vinegar. So it's going to give a lovely bit of sharpness to it. And the last thing we're going to add to this is some cashew nuts, which are just toasted and chopped. Pinch of salt, and then some black pepper. And then just stir this through. Just let it cook out for a few minutes. Griddle pan. We're going to grill these. No need to put any oil on it. So make sure your griddle pan is nice and hot. Have it on a low heat, so give it a good blast. on with your beef skewers. Spread them out evenly. I have the griddle pan on 2 gases, so it's getting a nice even heat. Just with a pastry brush, just give your marinade a little stir, turn over them. You can see that lovely kind of like grill effect, and then we can brush the marinade on. I love the five spice. It's just beautiful in this. Now, what I'm going to do next, while they're on cooking, show you how to pickle some cucumber. So first of all, we're going to peel it using a little potato peeler. But this works really well and counteracts the richness because satay is a rich dish. Cut it down the center. So you hold it in your hand and then just pull it and just remove the seeds. Before I dice this, we have 2 spoonfuls of caster sugar and we're going to add in some rice wine vinegar. Equal quantities. And then we're going to put in some salt and some black pepper. Turn the beef off. Again, just turn it one more time. Oh, they're beautiful. They're lovely and caramelized. That's exactly what I want. Now, onto our pickled cucumber. Just gather the 2 of them together and slice them really thinly. And then this is going to go into the pickling liquor. That's the vinegar, the sugar, and the salt and pepper. Combine it all, and that's it ready. So we're going to serve this up. So just a nice pile of the cucumber. Next thing we're going to do is taste the satay sauce. I love the crunch from the cashew nuts at the very end and also the peanut butter. I'm going to serve in a little dish. Presentation is so important in food. And normally in Thailand, they would serve the sauce on the side so you can dip your skewers in. We're going to get our beef. So in the restaurant, when we'd serve this for the staff, we would cook the chicken and the beef and we'd add it in. There'd be no fancy skewers for the staff, I'm afraid. So pile them nice and high. And the last thing we're going to do, coriander. And this is some baby coriander called micro coriander. Just over at the last minute. And that's my beef satay with the pickled cucumber and the satay sauce on the side. A real favourite with all of my staff. Gordon Ramsay is surely one of the best-known chefs and restaurateurs in the world. This is his flagship restaurant, the 3 Michelin-starred restaurant Gordon Ramsay in Chelsea. The head chef here is Claire Smith, and she's the first and only woman in the UK and Ireland to head up a 3-star kitchen. And I'm really looking forward to cooking with Claire today. Claire, I'm thrilled to be in the kitchen with you. It's a real honour for me. You're going to show me your tarte tatin, which is your signature dish here in the restaurant, isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
one of them.
yeah, it's one of the signatures, but it's kind of a dish that's been around for a long, long time. It's a classic.
So where do we start?
So we're going to start with apples. The apples for the tarte tatin are really important. You need to get like an apple that's going to hold its form. You don't want like a cooking apple that you would use that would go to mush. So these are pink lady apples. So when you start to see the flesh, squeeze the apple and see that there's not too much juice coming out of it. You want a really firm apple. So you don't want too much liquid, otherwise you're not going to get that nice caramel, and also your pastry will go soggy. Because these apples are quite small, we're going to cut them into 3 because we want the apples again to have quite nice pieces. They take about 45 minutes to bake, but you need to rest them for about 30 minutes. We like to do them fresh to order for each customer, so we will ask them to order it when they arrive if they would like a tarte tatin, and lots of our regulars do. A little trick at the restaurant that we do is we dry the apples out for a day. So we will put them in a cloth and put them in the fridge for like a day before we will actually make the tarte tatin, so it'll be prepared a day in advance. The apples will discolour a little bit, but that's fine because we're going to make, you know, they're going to be caramelised anyway. So what we're also going to do is we turn the apples. So we'll take the core out, we'll just round the edges off like this for 2 reasons. One's the shape of the apple, we get a nice round shape for presentation, but we also just take the edges off because the edges will overcook and break into the tatin, and it just keeps it nice. In a tarte tatin, we need like about 10 nice chunks of apple.
So Claire, you've been here in Gordon Ramsay's restaurant how many years?
Just over 8 years.
Wow. And what's it like running a 3 Michelin star kitchen?
It's my life, I love it, and it's what I've always wanted to do. You know, to become a great chef, it takes a long, long time, many, many years. It's not just about cooking a dish, it's about consistency, establishing yourself, a team, a style of cooking. someone that you could say, you know, that's Claire Smith's dish, you know, that's from this restaurant, and that's what I want to achieve in my life.
And you have a pastry chef from Northern Ireland, Tyrone.
Yeah, Tyrone.
Hi Tyrone, how are you? Are you well?
You could have put some gel in your hair this morning, Tyrone.
He looks good. He's smiling anyway. Sorry now.
Basically the apples being turned out. So what we would do is we'd wrap them up in a little cloth like that, pop them into the fridge overnight. There's the apples that we turned yesterday. So you can see they've discoloured slightly, but that doesn't matter.
We're going to caramelise.
We're going to caramelise them, so they're going to go brown anyway. But they've just dried out that little bit more. So what we're going to do now is actually put the whole tatin together. So we like to cook them in a nice copper pan. Copper for us is a good conductor of heat. And what we want to do when we're cooking them is we cook them really fast. We don't want liquid coming out of the apples and ruining the caramelisation. So we want to cook them fast. So we've got a pan that's nice and cold, that pan. Just going to grab some butter out of the fridge. Again, cold butter. And for our recipe, we'll use 50 grams of butter, 50 grams of sugar. So we'll just put our little slices of butter in the bottom like that.
And Claire, is that unsalted butter?
This is unsalted, yeah. Press it down so it covers the bottom of the pan completely. And because it's cold, it's just pliable like that, you know, it's not going to go all sticky, and smooth that out like that. So when we're putting the apples in, they're not going to touch the bottom of the pan, because we're going to put this on the stove afterwards and they would burn if they were touching directly.
Of course.
On there, we've just got a little bit of caster sugar. So there's one apple we're going to make for the centre. We'll get a round one. I'm just going to trim that down a little bit. Just put the little one down. Then we're going to lay the apples in. Now we're going to sort of lay them. We're not going to put them directly down because we've got that nice rounded bottom. So we're just going to sort of lay them against each other. We've quite a lot of apples in this. It's a substantial dessert. Now we're going to put one more just in the centre.
On top
again
of that
on top.
So you have 10 pieces of apple there.
Yeah, we're just going to angle them slightly in, just away from the sides of the pan.
I see what you're doing.
I'm going to put pastry on that now. So we've got a block of puff pastry here. We've got all butter puff pastry. You can make it yourself if you're very keen. Obviously, you know, I've got that really, really nice and cold. You know, and we're just going to roll it out. We will get 6 tartatans out of this piece.
Claire, you're originally from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, just outside Bushmills, Giant's Causeway area. Don't get back much, obviously. It's quite busy, but yeah, beautiful part of the world.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've your pastry ready rolled out?
Yeah,
nice.
just use a plane, cut that out.
Yeah.
So it's quite thick. It's a decent piece of pastry, that. So we're just going to tug them in. Just going to hug the apples. And you can also put like a little slit in the top there, just to let any steam out. That's all ready to go. And all we do now is going to rest that for about 30 minutes in the fridge before cooking it. When it's been rested for about 30 minutes, we're going to caramelise it before we put it in the oven. This is a good tip if you're doing it at home. We'll put it onto a stove. The caramel will start to bubble around the outside of the pan. We'll just move the pan slightly just to let the caramel go around the pan. You know, it'll start to go that caramel colour on the outside. Once it's started to do that, pop it straight into the oven. It goes straight into the oven. It takes about 40 to 45 minutes to cook. All right, so we do that on 180 in our oven, but I mean, obviously every oven at home is very different, isn't it? But yeah, a nice fan oven. But you put it in for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, have a little look, and then carry on cooking it. But I'll put that in the fridge. Tyrone's got some that he's got cooked already. You got one, Tyrone? So there's one now that's ready. That's cooked for about 45 minutes. Pastry's really crisp. It's not soggy, it's really crispy, and the caramel you can see around the outside.
Yeah, looking golden brown.
Also, when it's been cooked, it's a good idea to rest it for like 10-15 minutes before serving it. That just allows all the juices to come on the apples, just to sit, and then we'll pop it out. So, I mean, we've got one turned out as well. Do you want to?
That's why it's so important when the customers come in to pre-order it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Oh wow, look at this.
And that's what it looks like when we turn it out. A really crispy pastry. Nice caramelised apples, and that's a good tartatan. Simple tartatan, straightforward.
So ready to serve up?
Yeah. What we normally do in the restaurants is we'll carve it in the room. And we serve it with vanilla ice cream. And we used to do with cinnamon ice cream, which is lovely. A little bit of caramel sauce. Now we make just very simple caramel sauce. We just cook some sugar down till it's a nice colour and put some cream in it. It's that simple. And when we would serve it in the room, we would serve it in this pan with a little vanilla fan. We've just dusted with icing sugar.
That's just dried out vanilla?
Yeah, dried out vanilla. And some vanilla ice cream. There we go. And this is for 2, obviously. This is when the wait staff do this. They would do all of this in the room, and they would carve it in the room as well. and then we carve it in this pan. The thing is, it's the simplest but the most delicious dish, so it's all about the presentation of it. Pop that onto that plate there. We've got a knife and fork there.
Yeah, we have over here, Claire. There's
yeah, lovely. Thank you.
So you eat a little bit of everything?
Yeah.
The apple?
This part is the eating of it,
yeah,
obviously.
Of course it is. And the ice cream. Still the best I've ever tasted. Absolutely fantastic.
You can be as fancy as you want. Sometimes the simplest things are the best.
So good. Every day in the restaurant we make 6 varieties of bread. The one I'm going to show you is pizza bread, one of our most popular. Kids love it when it comes to the restaurant. So what we've done, strong flour, some salt, and we also have some dried yeast and tepid water. Mixed together, you bring it to a dough and you let it proof. What that means, it doubles in volume. So we proof our bread twice. First of all, in the bowl, we knock it back, and that means we're knocking out the air, the gas, which is trapped, and then we actually put it into, this is like a Swiss loaf tin. Roll it out and then let it proof again. So this is ready at this stage to go into the oven. But what I want to do is put a nice topping on it. The first topping I'm going to do is just a tomato sauce. We cook off some tomatoes, some onion, garlic, a little bit of vinegar and sugar, so it's sweet and sour, and then we just finish it with some fresh basil. With a palette knife, just spread it right to the edge, completely cover all the bread with the tomato sauce. Next thing we do is put it into the preheated oven, and the oven is already at 200. And that's going to take about 15 minutes to cook. What I'm going to do next is a deconstructed prawn cocktail. This is a relatively new dish on our menu in the restaurant. So I'm going to light my pan. So I'm using tiger tail prawns. You can use Dublin Bay prawns, also known as langoustines. We've deveined them. That's just the little black vein removed. Wear gloves when you're doing that. And we've just marinated them with a little bit of garlic, some chilli, a little bit of lemon zest and some lemon juice. So we want to just simply pan fry these in a little bit of oil. Going to get some rapeseed oil. So when your pan is nice and hot, just lift them out, 4 of these, and keep the little bits of garlic and also some chilli on. Now we're going to season them up with a little pinch of salt and a little touch of black pepper. And you'll notice with the tiger tail prawns, when they're raw, they're actually grey, and they'll turn pink when they're cooked. So we're just looking to brown these off, turn them over, and they look great. Always wear gloves when you're preparing shellfish. And you can actually prepare a batch of these and freeze them and then take them out and marinate them once you get them nice and fresh. So that's them cooked. So switch off the pan, and then we just lift them out. Smell gorgeous. Now, I'm going to leave them there, so that's them taken care of. So the next thing I'm going to make is a mayonnaise. Very, very simple. 2 egg yolks and 1 full egg goes in here. Into that, we're going to put some mustard, teaspoonful. A little pinch of sugar for sweetness. And then a little splash of white wine vinegar. What I have in here is rapeseed oil and olive oil. Just a wee drizzle of that to begin with. Put the blender on. So you literally blend it for about 10 seconds and then slowly add in the rest of your oil. If you add it in too fast, it will split. Just a slow, steady drizzle. That's exactly what you want. So what you have is a nice, light mayonnaise. I'm going to take out a little bit of the mayonnaise, and we're going to do 2 different flavoured mayonnaise. And then just keep some to the side. The first one I'm going to make is a lovely spicy tomato mayonnaise. And I'm using Ballymaloe relish. I love this relish, fantastic. 4 spoonfuls of this. And then just a little pinch of salt just into the tomato mayonnaise. And then I'm going to make the avocado mayonnaise in this. So you can have that done, leave it to the side, and we'll put it into a squeezy bottle. What I'm going to do next is an avocado mayonnaise. You can see how yellow it is. So these are nice free-range eggs, lovely vibrant yellow, and also the rapeseed oil gives it beautiful colour, and that's the Irish rapeseed oil I'm using. So for the avocado mayonnaise, avocados, always make sure they're lovely and ripe. We're going to scoop this out, and this is going to go into the mayonnaise. Next, I'm going to put some fresh coriander, and this works really well with avocado. Place all of this in with the avocado and the mayonnaise. That's roughly about a tablespoon in there. The lid goes on, and we're just going to blend this roughly for about a minute. Oh, that looks great. Lovely and vibrant and green. Put it into a squeezy bottle, spoon it in. So that's enough of the mayonnaise in there, and then just give it a shake. And that's ready. It looks good, so it does lovely and vibrant and green. Next thing I'm going to do is make a basil puree. So it seems like a lot of herbs, but it's worth making the full recipe for this. Boiling water, pinch of salt. And then we're going to get all this basil and spinach in here, and we're going to wilt it for about 10 seconds. So it's very important you don't overcook this, because if you do, you're going to lose the colour and lose the flavour. Have a sieve ready, and immediately we're going to lift this out. Just drain it and put it into the bowl. And we're going to push out as much water as possible. Pinch of salt. Next thing I'm going to do is blend this. So in goes the spinach and the basil. and then lots of oil. So this is a high-speed blender. Put the lid on. So about a minute you blend it for. Look at the beautiful, vibrant green colour. Put this into a squeezy bottle. Use a funnel and just tap it down like that. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? That will keep happily in your fridge for up to a week, and you can freeze it. So I'm going to go back over to my bread and just check if that's ready. What you're looking for with the bread is that it's golden brown underneath. So before I finish it, I'm just going to turn it to grill setting, and they're going to get nice and hot because we're going to grill the cheese until it's golden brown. So just underneath, you want it nice and brown, and then we put on our cheese. Have the cheese grated all over the bread. So the last thing I'm going to do before I grill it is some chili jam drizzled over the top, and then also some basil pesto. So a nice drizzle of that. This goes under the grill just for a couple of minutes until the cheese is lovely and golden brown. When we serve our breads, we offer a dip. So we have an infused rapeseed oil, which we warm up some rapeseed oil with garlic and rosemary. And at the bottom of this dish, we have some balsamic, which is reduced with some port. Also in this other dish, we have some chili jam and pesto, so people love to dip their bread into that. Now my pizza bread should be ready. Remove it from the oven. Oh, wow. So delicious. My youngest brother, Carlos, is a big fan. He would live on this. Absolutely adores it. And then we're going to cut it. Cut it into squares. And then cube it. So we arrange some of this on the board. So that's our pizza bread ready. Now I'm going to serve up my deconstructed prawn cocktail. I want the prawns to sit on the plate. Some of them sometimes can fall over. We just need to nick off the end. Great. So we're going to serve 4 of the prawns, a tiny little dot of the mayonnaise, and this is the one which we put some of the Ballymaloe relish in. Then we have our avocado mayonnaise. So a nice little pipe of that. And then the next thing we're going to do is with our basil puree, and just do little dots of the basil puree. So these are cherry tomatoes. Cut them in half. These are lovely, sweet, fine tomatoes. Just marinate them with a little bit of balsamic, a little bit of salt and pepper, and some rapeseed oil. Get your cause, nick off the end, and then just try and sit it up in the avocado mayonnaise. So it gives a little bit of a height to the dish. So these are the tiny little inner leaves, which are baby gem, also known as cos. These are great tweezers. I feel like a bit of a doctor when I use these. Just arrange them on the plate. And the last thing is a little bit of micro coriander. So these are little baby shoots of coriander. They're full of flavour, really intense. So that's my deconstructed prawn cocktail and also the pizza bread. It's a real family favourite.
Later tonight, our midweek movie is a frenzied and frantic road trip between 2 unlikely companions, one determined to be by his wife's bedside before their first child arrived. That's the comedy, due date at 9:35.